They're unsettled because the ones in the hospital are our colleagues. As outrage, fear and panic rose across Madrid, Spaniards do what they have perfected so well during the economic crisis. They protest by calling for the health minister to quit. Isa Suarez, CNN, Madrid, Spain.
And there's also a lot of concern in the United States, where officials have ordered new checks at airports to try and detect Ebola.
Yeah, but many doubt that the added screening will make any difference. Aviation correspondent Renee Marsh reports.
In just days, ramped-up screening of passengers will begin at New York's JFK Airport and expanding to Atlanta, Newark, Chicago, and here at Washington Dulles.
These 5 airports represent about 94, nearly 95% of all of the 150 travelers per day who arrive from these 3 countries.
Anyone traveling to the U.S. from Ebola hotspots, Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, will have their temperature checked with a laser thermometer. No touching necessary, just held close to the forehead. A new CDC questionnaire must also be filled out upon landing.
There's a 21-day incubation period. People may not have a fever when they're passing through the airport, and invariably when a case comes through, people are going to ask, we had this temperature screening set up. Why did this happen? And I'm telling people that it's completely predictable that it will happen, because this is not a foolproof way to prevent Ebola from coming into the country.
Similar screening is already in place in West Africa, but the goal of these new U.S. checks is to identify passengers airport officials missed or who developed symptoms while traveling.
This is an additional layer of screening that can be targeted to that small population in a way that will enhance security, but also minimize disruption to the broader traveling public.
The ramped-up procedures will not begin until Saturday. The reason for the delay, one official saying they have to get the staff in place and customs officers have to be briefed and trained on the new procedures. Renee Marsh, CNN, Dulles International Airport.
And in the coming hours, leaders from the 3 countries hit hardest by Ebola, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia, will address the crisis at the annual meeting of the World Bank and IMF.
The World Bank now believes Ebola will cost the continent about $32 billion by the end of next year. That is, if it spreads to larger countries. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has announced a $50 million donation to help with the Ebola response.
The money will go to international aid groups and governments so they can buy desperately needed supplies and improve emergency operations.
Well, I think we need to move supplies very quickly. I think we need to educate communities very quickly on how they can make sure they don't contract Ebola. I think we need to actually draw blood from people who've had Ebola and recovered from it so we can use their blood or their antibodies and give those to other people. And then back home, we need to be working on the right drugs and vaccines for a long-term strategy against Ebola as well.
This is the Gates Foundation's largest emergency grant.